Alright, good evening guys. I just wanted to make a quick video on today's trade. I did not trade, but I figured it would be good to go over exactly what happened. Alright, so starting here, we can see that we did not have SMT between MES and MNQ. They both made very long-term lows that weren't really making an SMT. But what we had down here are some important levels. We had like order block CE. This was an EOB. Here was sell side liquidity. There was an order block right here from a long time ago on the hourly. The only way we had an SMT was with MYM or Dow. And so there was logical positioning here. If you were counting Dow with an SMT, which I don't love to do because typically I can find really quality SMTs just between MNQ and MES, which is what I prefer. And I believe that those SMTs are typically stronger and much more well respected, but that's personal opinion. Great, now dropping down. I wanted to go over this. So this order block itself is from a long time ago. As you may see, we are making lows that haven't been formed in probably a couple weeks. This right here is an order block of this low, and I just carried this high out to see what would happen because this is essentially where price was at. And as we were coming down, let's drop to the 1 minute, drop this. Okay, right here, we like perfectly respect it. The bodies don't close below it, but we perfectly wick below it, and that was good news to me. I was like, all right, we are respecting a very important level. This is great news. Where do we go from here? Now, the biggest thing I was looking at was we have an inverse fair value gap right here that was so like we made this bearish fair value gap here, and then on the other side we also made an imbalance, which makes, in my opinion, a very strong imbalance. So this was a very strong point of for price to return to, in my opinion. So I labeled that as our first area was inverse fair value gap this. And then we had this order block and order block CE right here. And then here, I'm gonna have to turn on PSP again just because when I reload it after a while, it has a hard time loading. This right here is PSP. So I carried this out and I was like, you know what, the one level that would fit all three of these being the inverse fair value gap being manipulated and the order block CE and the PSP is this blue level right here. That did not end up getting hit anywhere through here. It just didn't. So I didn't trade today. Even though our true opens were set in a very convenient manner, that's also one of the reasons how I knew we were taking longs. It was a very good setup for our positioning in terms of SMTs with Dow and this manipulation of this high time frame order block right here that made me bullish. But we also had this fair value gap. But this fair value gap, order block, and inverse fair value gap don't even get mitigated. Being this inverse fair value gap over here doesn't get mitigated. But I don't like using an inverse fair value gap on top of a fair value gap because I don't think the two things, I don't think you can have both and count them as separate confluences, in my opinion. But that didn't even get manipulated until after the window. But an interesting thing is this key level that I was looking at. This is that order block CE that I was interested in. It has the PSP. It has the manipulation of the inverse fair value gap all carried with it. This is the one level that I was most interested in, was this order block CE, which allows for quite the large stop just between the entry here and the stop down here. So you could have dropped it down to this original high time frame order block, but I probably would have just put it down to the bottom of this PSP. But I just wanted to point out that this was something cool that I noticed was that we had this level that didn't get manipulated during our window, but overall that was our trade setup, and this level that we were looking for did end up getting manipulated, but not until later, not until we hit what is this? This is Q3, Q4, Q3, so nothing actually very good, but that's what we hit right here. And we perfectly respecting that a single body closes below just wicks. Had you entered here, as always, I aim for that 4 and 6. So assuming you placed your stop there, you would have had a 4 up here because this right here would have been a 4, and there's a high right here, which is also the bottom of a imbalance. So I would have focused that there. And then for a 6, the 6 is here, but we do have a swing high right here, which is very conveniently placed, all of which gets taken out in the span of about, I think this was about 30 minutes. Yeah, okay, I guess that's 40 minutes to second TP, but the first one was 20 minutes. 20 minutes to first TP. And everything would have been hit. It just was outside of my window, so I wasn't thrilled about taking it by any means. So I wanted to share that with you guys, kind of go through my thought process. We had the true opens. Our SMT was messy, but it also didn't align with our time window. So that's the biggest thing for me. Last thing before I go, I just want to review that for this week, we actually have quite a bit of news, like generally speaking, I guess. Today, we didn't really have anything. It's pretty much a no news Monday. Tuesday is essentially useless with consumer confidence, but we'll see what happens. If there's a reaction in price, we can use it as key draws on liquidity. Wednesday, we have 6:30 news, which is prelim GDP and core PCE price index, and a little bit of a second prelim GDP price index, which is less important. And then Thursday, we start our Jackson Hole Symposium with unemployment claims at 6:30 a.m. Friday is Jackson Hole Symposium Day 2, and we also have payroll revisions, consumer sentiment revisions, inflation expectation revisions, and Chairman Warsh is speaking. That's all at 8 a.m. except for the Jackson Hole Symposium because that happens the entire day. So just wanted to go off that. Today I was not expecting anything to happen today. Honestly, tomorrow I'll definitely be looking. Actually, no, tomorrow I won't be going for a setup. I'm having a bit of a day off tomorrow where I will be. I have a team building thing that I have to go do, which I'm thrilled about. I will be gone all morning. I'm leaving long before market opens, so and I will not be back until late in the day. So I will analyze it, but not until I get back. But Wednesday's looking big. Wednesday's looking good. Tomorrow, maybe, but Wednesday looks good with that prelim and core PCE. Thursday looks good, except we have Jackson Hole Symposium, so we should be careful. Same thing goes for Friday, Jackson Hole Symposium, so we need to be careful, but we can absolutely use 8 a.m. news as draws on liquidity. That's it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Be safe, and thanks for watching. See you guys.